I think that's what's so interesting about this event, is that we get to really drill down into real world examples and have an honest discussion.
This is my first time here, so the mix of folks I think is really interesting. It seems to be a very publisher-heavy crowd, but you also have clients intermixed. So it's a good platform to kind of talk about these issues.
I think we're done getting passes, right? I think consumers are in an age of not just data breaches, but data leaks. I think consumers know what's happening, and they're not willing to just kind of keep going along with things anymore. At the same time, I don't think that's the end of the world for anybody, because I think consumers are also much more, the fact that they're much more aware of what's happening is not a bad thing, right? They're skeptical, but they're also aware of this data exchange and that value exchange. So I think, honestly, Tina, I think it gives us a better opportunity than we've had in previous difficult moments, perhaps, to actually communicate that value further.
I think one thing it's done is it's caused companies, especially data and tech companies, to really step back, do a little spring cleaning, assess what's going on, what technology they're using, what data they're using.
We're not done. Like, there's only like, what, 17, 18% of the top 10,000 websites are actually compliant. They have any sort of like consent management tool in place. The internet is not even close to being compliant with the law.
I don't think anybody willingly doesn't want to help or participate, at least not in my experience. I think you just need to kind of wake them up a little bit and, you know, really explain like what the real risk is. It's not just about money. It's not just about stopping your data processing. It's about your company reputation. You know, do you want to be that guy who's sort of like the first enforcement action or even the 10th enforcement action? You kind of want to avoid those headlines altogether.
Right. We've been selling audience for quite some time. I think what's really unique now is we've talked about audience forever, but now you're actually getting to rich data that actually really identifies those audiences at a different level. I truly believe data will be the future for how everyone buys everything that they do, but you have to make sure it's protected.
Riffing off Inabit, I mean, we're having the most fun now with those marketers that can bring really high fidelity CRM data to the table as a starting point with us. So it's like, listen, how about we start with the conversation with how is my consumer as a marketer, what are they doing on Spotify? What are they listening to? What playlists are they building? What environments are they in across desktop, mobile, you know, gaming consoles? So getting understanding of that allows us to say, okay, now we know what they're doing on Spotify, how they're behaving. What's the investment strategy?
Sometimes it's even difficult for a brand to articulate what they're okay with and what they're not okay with, and it requires that they actually, you know, look at something in writing or look at a video example. And I think getting this framework in place and us aligning over time more closely to it will enable us to have better conversations, because there are implications to these types of decisions.
The most interesting thing I've heard today, I think, has been the conversation about bringing all parts of the ecosystem together to really combat the fraud issue. I've really appreciated the fact that the sentiment in this group is that it's everyone's responsibility, not just up to the publishers to figure this out or, you know, the marketers to push back, but that, you know, we all have an obligation to protect the health of the ecosystem.
I think one of the most interesting conversations I've had today was about the challenges of brand safety. And I think that's what's fun about this conference, is you get folks who are here all thinking about those same areas, but coming at it from such different perspectives. You can have a really diverse conversation, and one that kind of moves the ball forward.